Hey, well, welcome to our weekly Redfin Live. The housing market is completely unhealthy. And to have a healthy market, you need a few things, two of which are you need a steady supply of homes hitting the market as new listings. So you need active inventory. You also need a steady stream of buyers purchasing that inventory. We have neither right now. We have neither. That means sellers aren't selling and buyers aren't buying. So if you're fortunate enough to land on this live or land on my channel and you want to keep your finger on the pulse of the housing market, both nationally and locally in various metros, wherever you may live, you came to the right spot. So I thank you for joining me this morning for the Redfin Live update. So the way this works is we're going to look at the national picture. We're also going to look at several metros. And you, as the viewer, this video is for you. You have requested several metros for me to analyze today. I've got on the docket Washington, D.C. I've got Philadelphia. I've got Newark, New Jersey, Tampa, Florida, Salt Lake City, Utah. I've got Columbus, Ohio, Cincinnati, and Cleveland, Ohio. And if there's a metro you want me to analyze, just drop it in the comments below. But again, thanks for watching this channel. Thanks for joining us today. And let's get started right now. All right, I'm going to bring on some Instagram people. Instagram is not easy to work with, but nonetheless, I do have some folks on Instagram sometimes. So, all right, Instagram's up. Let's do the article. So let's jump into the actual article itself. And it's kind of comical, some of the things they point out. I'd love to be in the room when they write these articles. Like, do you think, I would imagine Glenn Kelman, the CEO of Redfin, approves these and reviews them. Do you think he does? He probably does. I would think he does. This is like the messaging to customers each week. So he probably does review them, but they're just interesting how they phrase them. All right. So the title of this article is "Falling Mortgage Rates Have Yet to Improve Home Sales." They have not improved home sales, with buyers uncertain about the NAR settlement, election. So, comment. I want to know: do you think that buyers are hesitant because of the NAR rules? That's a big stretch. Most buyers that I work with, most even sellers, are like, hey, look, I just want to buy a house or I just want to sell a house. I just want help doing that. I don't need to know, or I don't really care about the NAR rules necessarily. As much as they affect them, they're really focused on their own life, right? So I think that's kind of an excuse that NAR rules are keeping people from buying homes. Right? The election, I can see that. I hear that a lot right now, especially from buyers. They're like, I don't know if I should buy a house because of the election. I got to wait. I don't know what they're waiting for exactly, but they're waiting. All right. So I just highlighted a few things here from the article. And again, it really comes down to the fact that buyers are just frozen. They're just not purchasing. And sellers are just not selling. People are just not listing homes. So clarity on the NAR settlement. The new rules for how agents, buyers, and sellers negotiate agent fees went into effect August 17th. Some would-be buyers and sellers are waiting to see how these rules play out before getting into the market. What do you mean how they play out? They're already in effect. So realtors are still collecting commissions. There's just minor differences as far as the advertising the commissions and communicating with each other. And then now we also have to have a buyer sign an agreement that really is a formality in most situations for them to tour a home and look at a home. Open houses, you can come in anytime, but if you're going to do a showing, you have to have a buyer sign an agreement. And they go on to say some buyers have been likely scared off by agents falsely claiming that the new NAR rules require an exclusive buyer representation agreement just to tour a home, said Jason Aleem, Redfin's chief of real estate services. Jason needs to go out in the field more. At Redfin, we make sure buyers understand our fees before they tour, but we would never lock you into working with us before we had a chance to win your business. So I think what he's referring to there is their agreement. I haven't read it, but their buyer agreement probably says something like, hey, this is, because the NAR rules are very, very clear. You have to have a buyer agreement, but the buyer agreement could say, hey, this agreement's only good for this home on this day. Meaning, if you go out and look at a home tomorrow with another agent, you have no obligation to me. And that's an easy way to get somebody, comfortable with working with you maybe to tour a home. So there are agents out there doing that. I've written buyer agreements recently that are really good for one day because the buyer was clear and they're like, I don't want to enter into a exclusivity agreement with you. And so I understand that. Other agents feel differently, but I get that. So I guess they're waiting. Buyers are waiting supposedly to find out what happens with the NAR rules. That's according to Redfin, though. Lower home prices. Even though monthly payments are declining, home sale prices are just a few $1,000s shy of early July record. That's partly because inventory is losing momentum. That's true. We'll dive into that. The total number of homes for sale posted its smallest year-over-year increase in 5 months. Lower mortgage rates. Some buyers are waiting on lower mortgage rates because they think they'll decline more in the coming months. They may not. A lot of the mortgage folks I talk to say that the low rates or the discounted rates are already baked into the rates you're seeing now. Even with some cuts, it may not change a lot. Maybe it does, hard to say. But others are waiting for the outcome of the presidential election. So if you're a real estate investor, buyer, seller, are you waiting for the election? Is that what you're doing? Waiting for the election in order to purchase or sell a house? I'd love to know your logic with that. Like, I hear people say they are, but I want to know the logic behind it. Like, if it goes this way, I buy this property. If it goes that way, I buy this property, or I don't buy at all. I don't know. A lot of comments on my channel about that. A lot of people feel strongly that it does matter and it's something you should pay attention to. All right. So this comment I highlighted, I thought it was funny. I expect more buyers and sellers to jump into the market in a few months once everyone has a better understanding of how the NAR rules will play out in actual real estate deals. Again, the buyers, especially first-time buyers I'm working with, they're like, dude, just help me buy this house for a price that makes sense and walk me, help me through the process. Be my shepherd, my guide through the process. Give me the data. Give me, advocate for me. Be loyal to me. That's my job as a realtor. So, they never, at least right now, they're not saying, well, I'm going to wait to see how these NAR rules play out, and then, I'll figure out if I want to buy a house. It's like, no, they're not saying that, at least not in Ohio. All right, enough commentary. Let's get to the nitty gritty. So the first section here, they call leading indicators, and this is just kind of an overview and of some highlights in the market. So daily average 30-year fixed mortgage rate, 6.37%. So rates are lower. They're definitely coming down. I just saw that they were under 6.4, near the lowest level since 2023, year over year. Now look at this. Down from 7.29% a year ago. That's where interest rates were. Mortgage purchase applications. This is interesting, and this is another sign buyers are not buying. Increased 1% from a week earlier as of week ending August 23rd. So they're only up, interest rates drop, and mortgage purchase applications are only up 1% from the week before. Down 9% year over year. Yikes. Touring activity up a whopping 6% from the start of the year. At this time last year, it was up 2% from the start of 2023. So it's barely up versus last year, touring activity. And it's only up 6% since the start of the year, meaning in January, way back when it's freezing cold outside and holidays and all that jazz, we're only up 6% with touring. Google searches for homes up 10% from a month earlier. I can tell you as a realtor who has listings right now, I'm helping people buy houses. I'm doing open houses on the weekends, and there's not a lot of traffic. There's just not a lot of traffic, and buyers are being a lot more picky. I mean, I'm seeing a lot of showings on various houses, and houses that they would have pulled the trigger on last year, the year before, certainly the year before that, maybe even pre-pandemic, people were just kind of holding off. They're a lot more choosy, a lot more picky. I think they're just taking their time. So even homes that are priced right are sitting for a while. All right. Key housing market data. So the next part here is they look at the 4 weeks ending August 25th. Remember, this is all macro level data, and this is just from the top 400 U.S. metros. Not every metro, just the top 400 metros. Median sale price, $389,975. That's the median sale price in the U.S. That's an increase of 3.6% year over year. It's up about $1,000 from a week earlier, but $6,000 below the all-time high. Now, they did revise this for last week, I believe, because last week it was $390, if I remember right. Now it's $389,975. They're saying it's about $1,000 higher than the week earlier, which means they revised the number from a week earlier. There's going to be revisions in this data. That's how it works because they're looking at the last 4 weeks. They gather all this data from the top 400 metros across all the MLSs through the United States. Those MLSs are changing their data, meaning they're looking, when they finish the month out or the week out, there are changes that are made to the data because errors were made or the deal changes, like, an agent, which happens all the time, accidentally enters the sale price of a property. Let's say it's sold for $500. They enter it for $50,000. They forgot to put a zero at the end, another zero. That happens, right? It's a clerical error. Then somebody catches it and they go, oh, that's wrong, and they revise it. And then Redfin is aggregating all that data from the MLSs, and they're looking back and going, okay, we need to correct the data. So I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I don't believe they're manipulating the data. I think that they're just correcting the data because it's corrected in many areas beyond just median sale price. So that's my take on that. I will point out 3.6% increase year over year is not a lot. Comparatively to what we've been seeing. We've been seeing 4, 5, 6%. So that's starting to shrink, right? Last year and this year, Delta is starting to shrink a little. Median asking price, $395,000. That's going down. You'll see that in a second. Median monthly mortgage payment, $2,568. Look at this. This is the first time, one of the first times it's been down, significantly. I could say like a half a percentage point. It's the lowest level since February, $258 below an all-time high. To me, that's a good savings. That's a HOA payment maybe. That's that's extra money you'd have to pay maybe in increased property taxes. So it's good that the rate and some of the pricing stabilizing so that the payments come down. I highlighted these areas, though, because these next three areas are super, ultra important for you to watch locally if you want to find out what's happening in your market. And you can watch these at like a granular level. If you know how to pull the data, you can watch these on a granular level. So pending sales, that's when a house goes into contract. 79,000 units. That's down 6.9% year over year. Again, buyers are not pulling the trigger. That's the biggest decline since October of 2023. New listings, 89,241. That's only up 3% since last year, meaning there aren't a lot of people listing their home for sale. Active listings, now down under a million, 990,630. That's only up 16.7%. That's the smallest increase since April. So something I like to do on these videos is just glance at the new listings, the pending listings, and you look at the delta there and you're like, that's 10,000 listings approximately. Means we left, how I like to think of it, we left 10,000 listings on the market. But certainly it's not a great situation when you have ultra low levels of inventory and then they go up somewhat during the spring, which they did. They didn't skyrocket. There wasn't an explosion of distressed sales or distressed inventory, and now they're starting to drop. So less choices is not good if you want a price drop. And that's why prices are sticky, in my opinion, because there's not inventory to churn and free up those prices. Like if you had, 1 million or 500,000 distressed properties on the market selling at 20 and 30% off where they maybe would sell normally, then you would see the median price drop significantly. But you're not seeing that because there's not a lot of distressed inventory. There's not. There's like almost zero. I think it's like one of the lowest levels, in the last decade right now as far as distressed inventory. So people are selling if they have to right now, but there's not a lot of people that have to sell right now. Months of supply, 3.6 months of supply. That's kind of holding steady over the last few weeks or few months because the inventory that's out there is just not great inventory. So that's going to continue to be sticky unless we see a lot of inventory hit the market. Good inventory, by the way. Share of homes off the market in 2 weeks or less, 35.8, down from 41%. Median days on market, 35 days. That's up 5 days. Share of homes sold above list price, 28.6. That's down from 34%. Those three indicators right there tell you that homes are sitting longer on the market. They just are. These next two stats are super interesting. Share of homes with the price drop, 6.8%. That's 1.4 points higher than last year. It's the highest level on record, meaning a lot of people are cutting their prices. I can tell you that's true. I've got clients, buyer and seller, where I am seeing prices cut every week. They keep cutting them until somebody says, okay, that's enough. I'm going to come and look at it now and buy it. This one's huge. Average sale to list price ratio, 99.1%, down 0.6 points. That's a big move. Like, I think it was 99.3 last week. But this could go under 99%, meaning, it was like at 105% for a long time. People were paying on average 105% of the list price. Now they're paying 99.1% of the list price. So there's a discount there, right? Albeit small, it's there. And this is important to know. That's average to list price ratio, not original list. So if you list a house at 100 grand and you drop the price to $90,000 and I give you 90 grand, I may have given you 100% a list, but I gave you 90% of your original list price. So the delta between the original list and the actual sale price could actually be a lot bigger here. It could be, I don't know. I don't know how to calculate that, but off the top of my head, but like it could easily be a few percentage points lower that people are actually paying compared to the original list. Hope that made sense. All right. Metro level highlights. This is just a brief overview of some metros, who's winning, who's losing, and then we'll dive into the details on various metros. If you have a metro you want me to analyze, drop it in the comments below. Median sale price, where it went up the most compared to last year. Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, 15.1%. Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Anaheim, California, Nassau County, New York, and Providence, Rhode Island were all the winners. Anaheim's crazy expensive. On the West Coast, beyond that, you're seeing mostly East Coast and Midwest, I guess. Milwaukee's, I guess, Midwest. Anaheim, too, is probably deceiving because that incorporates probably a lot of Orange County, right? Like Southern Orange County, I'm guessing. Because they do it by MLS, I believe. So that MLS probably controls like Irvine, Tustin, Costa Mesa, that type of stuff. All right. Where home prices, median prices decrease the most year over year. And this is year over year, not month over month or week over week. Just if you compare last year with this year. Austin, Texas, 2.8%. Fort Worth, Texas, 1.5%. Tampa, Florida, down 0.6%. San Francisco, San Diego, San Antonio, and Nashville all had drops in median sale price. It says here, declined in 7 metros. So this is growing. Like a few months ago, I think it was declining in like 1 or 2, and it was always Texas. But now it's declining in 7 of the top 50 metros. So this looks at the top 50 metros. I don't think I said that. So you've got 43 that went higher, that grew year over year in median sale price. So still most of the country is growing year over year in median sale price. Pending sales, where people are buying the most, where they are buying the most, San Francisco, Boston, San Jose, Los Angeles, and Riverside. Where sales are dropping the most, West Palm Beach, Atlanta, Miami, Fort Lauderdale, and Tampa. Look at that, Florida. Well, Florida, except Atlanta. So pending sales in those areas are down a lot. It only increased in 11 of the top 50 metros pending sales. So 39 metros had a decrease in pending sales year over year? Wow. New listings, San Diego, Los Angeles, San Jose, Phoenix, Montgomery County, PA, all those saw the largest increase in new listings. And we need new listings in almost every metro across the United States, even and especially affordable inventory. Atlanta, Austin, San Antonio, Newark, New Jersey, and Tampa, Florida all had the lowest or the least amount of new listings when you compare it to last year. Declined in 14 metros. New listings declined in 14 of the top 50 metros. So, 36 of them actually had increases in new listings. But again, overall, we're only up 3% nationally in new listings. So if we're up 3% only in new listings, but, you had declines in 14 of the top 50, there's a lot of other metros that are certainly hurting when it comes to new listings. You'll see that in a minute. All right, median sale price. Here's the charts. You can see $389,975. This orange line is the 2023 line. And so, at this point, median sale price is not crashing. It's not skyrocketing, but it's not crashing either. So it'll be interesting as we go along if it ends up being below 2023. There are people on YouTube that think it will be below 2023. It could. It very well could. I don't think it will be. I think we'll end up, between 2 and 5% year over year. That's where I think we'll end up. Not fantastic, but definitely not 10% or 15% like we've been seeing. Median asking price. So this has been going down since, seasonality, I would say, right? You can see it every year. It's kind of like this, higher in the winter. Higher in the spring, and then it starts to decline. So it's good that people are asking less for homes, or there's less expensive homes on the market. We need affordable homes. Home buyer housing payments. Look at this. Down now under 2023. So people are paying less than they did last year for mortgage payments. They're actually down. Now, look at 2021. Next year, that's going to fall off. I was watching a channel, Travis at Real Estate Mindset, and I enjoy a lot of his content. I just like watching him. I don't always agree with what he says. Some of the stuff he says is kind of doomish and like conspiracy theorist type stuff. But he did point something out that was interesting, is that 2021 is going to fall off next year on this chart. So you're not going to see the difference there, right? Between the crazy payment you had in 21 compared to now. And that's a good point. You won't see that. So it'll almost look like, well, if this line continues and goes through here, you'll be like, oh, housing payments really aren't that bad compared to last year. That's what people will think probably. Pending sales down 7% year over year. It's awful. Like when you don't think it can get any worse transaction wise, it's horrible. It just gets worse and worse, right? People just aren't buying and they're not selling. And to put this in perspective, if you had an explosion of new listings, with the current demand we have, you would definitely see price decline. So it's like the new listings right now being suppressed are really keeping that median price sustained because there's just not a lot of inventory to pick from. There's a lot of dead inventory, but not a lot of inventory overall and not a lot of new inventory. All right, new listings of homes. We see that barely up versus last year. Not going to do it. It's threatening to cut right through 2022, which means we'd have less new listings. I'm sorry, it's threatening to cut down below 2023, so we'd have less new listings than last year. It definitely could happen. It could definitely happen. All right, active listings is dropping. Look at that. Now at 990,000, dropping down almost less than 2022. It's crazy. We still have 16% more than we did last year. That's not going to do it for a any type of housing crash. 3.6 months of supply. Months of supply continues to go, it's more than last year, and the other years. But again, it's a lot of stale inventory and no demand. So it's kind of just sitting there in that mid 3 point something range. 36% of pending sales under contract within 2 weeks. So sales, homes are taking longer to sell. Homes sold in a median of 35 days. So they are taking longer to sell overall. 29% of homes sold above final list price. Compared to, right, way back then, it was like 50%. 2022, we had 50% of homes selling above list price. Nuts, right? Now it's 28.6. 6.8% of homes had price drops. Price drops are going up. Nothing wrong with cutting your price. If you list a house, you're over your skis on price, you misjudge the market, you got to drop your price, you got to drop it. Drop it to reality. The market will react when it gets low enough. Somebody will come and buy it when the price gets low enough. That's just how it is. People think, what sells a house? Price sells a house. It just does. Average home sold for 99.1% of final list price. That's way down compared to 2022. Look at that. We were up well over 100%. Most people were paying at least 100% for the home, if not 105%. Now they're paying less than 100. So good news. Redfin Home Buyer Demand Index is in the basement. It's not going to get any lower, but maybe it could. Just when you don't think it can, it will get lower. All right, so let's do, those were the charts nationally. Now we're going to do the metro level look. Let me just change my screen here. All right. So I always start with Columbus because that's where I am, Columbus, Ohio. And then we'll jump into the other ones. I'll do Ohio. I'll buzz through Ohio, and then we'll jump into the other metros. So go ahead and, again, if you have a metro you want me to analyze, let me know. And I apologize. I'm just going to check the comments real quick. On any metros. And then I'll cover all the comments that don't have to do with what metro you want to look at the end. So obviously, keep them coming. All right, Columbus, Ohio. Now, I should always start with new listings. New listings in Columbus, Ohio. It's not good. It hasn't been good all year. It's been horrible. So really no change there. Just as bad, down 0.1%. Let me do active listings in Columbus. Active listings are going down now. No surprise because new listings stink. 13% more than last year, but there's not a lot of great inventory out there. I can tell you, I know I have buyers looking. There's just not a lot of great inventory. Just need more sellers. We just do. All right, let's look at pending sales. It's just like new listings, horrible, 1.4% down year over year. Not as bad as national numbers, but it's pretty bad. It's when you don't have any new listings, you have no active listings, pending listings are going to be not good. Let's do median sale price in Columbus. I think this went down. $348,000. Last week it was $352,000. It's still unaffordable here. I know a lot of people think $348,000, like you would kill for that kind of price. But to us in Ohio, that's nuts. It's just as a median sale price. Up 4% year over year. I still think we're going to end up, I thought between 5 and 10% for the year here in Columbus. We started at $315,000. Now we're at $348,000. So houses aren't necessarily cheaper or less expensive now. They're actually just kind of sticky. The prices are sticky. But the people who need to sell and the prices are too high, they're cutting their prices. They are. All right, we did Columbus. Now let's do, let's go up north. Cleveland, Believeland. New listings in Cleveland, Believeland. New listings up 10% year over year. So there was a spike there. I mean, look at that. We were at 0.1%. Now we're at 0.10. I'm sorry, 10%. So certainly a little bit more new inventory hitting the market. That's a good thing if you're in Cleveland. It's nice to see, especially this time of year, right? All right, now let's look at active listings. That's still flat. Look at that. Basically flat from last year, active listings. Pending sales for Cleveland. Wow. Down 2%. So here's what to watch in Cleveland. Look at this. If you go back to go back to new listings and look at the spike we had, right? I mean, a spike. You're talking about 653 homes versus 669. So, not that much more as far as numbers go, but it'd be interesting if the new listing increase, translates into active listings. And the reason I say that is because pending sales are dropping. So if there's not homes transacting, but you're adding new inventory, eventually logic tells me that active listings will go up. So I wonder if it will in Cleveland. Maybe prices will come down too at some point. All right, let's look at the median sale price in Cleveland. Yeah, it looks like it peaked at 4-year high. Maybe an all-time high, $247,000. You can still buy a house for $247,000, by the way, in certain parts of the United States. Look at this, down, down, down. Now $237,000. So it's still up 3% year over year, but that's because of this spike probably. Unless this crashes, it's probably going to end up more than last year. So unfortunately, it's probably pricing a lot of locals out, as it is here in Columbus. All right, let's look at Cincinnati. Cincinnati, Ohio. Nasty natty. By the way, shout out to Mr. Lance Lambert at Resi Club Analytics. He lives in Cincinnati. I'm pretty sure he's a Bengals fan, unfortunately. But he runs Resi Club Analytics, does a great job with data. If you want the best real estate data available, check out Lance's website. The link will be in my description. All right. So new listings, they are up 27% year over year in Cincinnati. Wow. That's a big increase. That's impressive. A lot of new listings there. Now let's look at active listings. That'll kind of tell us what's happening. Active listings are rising too. Look at active listings now in Cincinnati. I'm going to double check this to make sure I'm looking at the right thing. I think I am. 74% increase year over year in Cincinnati. That's a lot of active listings. Let's look at the difference. You had 3,400 active listings last year at this time. Now you have 5,800. 2,000 more listings. That's a big increase. So maybe I have to go down there and hunt for some deals. I wonder how the multifamily market is there. Anybody who lives in Cincinnati, let me know how the duplex and triplex and quad market is doing. That's what I like, are the smaller multifamilies. All right, let's do pending sales. Yeah, look at these pending sales, flat, right? I mean, they're up 5.3%, but that's because of this dip right here. But if you look through the year, it hasn't been increasing that much or hasn't been going up. And now you look at new listings, skyrocketing. Well, I guess it's not skyrocketing. It's still up 27%, but you look at active listings, and those are definitely going up. So pending sales are not great. I wonder if there are deals there in Cincinnati. Well, comment below if you live in Cincinnati, you're a realtor or investor or just anybody. I'd love to know if there's actually any kind of deals down there. Doesn't look like a horribly tight market. All right, let's do next is, what do we got? We got Philly. Philadelphia, PA. New listings in Philly, up 7% year over year, but it's headed down. It's barely up compared to last year. Active listings, up 1% compared to last year. Not a lot of active listings. That's going down. Pending sales. Pending sales are bad too. So it looks similar to Columbus in the fact that not a lot of new listings, not a lot of people buying, just kind of stuck in a quagmire. Sluggish, like a wet sponge. All right, median sale price in Philly. Look at this. Good grief. $310,000. Is that right? Can you really buy a home in Philly for $310,000? That's it seems low, but I'm not a Philly expert. That's up 15% year over year. I mean, that's just going like up, up, up compared to last year, or it's maybe just stagnant because there's not a lot of transactions. And, you know, at one point it hit, I guess is this an all-time high? 310, 309, 310, 310. Yeah, it's like tied for an all-time high, it looks like, in Philly. Jeez. So, I don't know. Will it keep going up? I guess it could, but it seems like it may be stagnant because there isn't a lot of transactions. Interesting stuff. I don't invest in Philly, but it looks like a very tight market with not a lot of activity. All right. Next, Newark, New Jersey. All right, new listings in Newark. Man, down 7.2%. Now, I believe, I won't change the screen. I'm just checking this stat. I believe they're on this list of where prices are increasing the most. No, they're not. They usually are. But look at this. I mean, pending sales are like horrible. I'm sorry. New listings are horrible. It's down 7.2%. Nobody's selling a house there. Active listings in Newark, New Jersey, down 7.82%. Jeez. So this is like a complete opposite of what you see in some other metros where new listings are, you know, not great, but active listings are a lot higher than last year. There's a lot of dead inventory. This looks like there's no new listings and there's no active inventory. Like that's what I'm seeing anyway, just from this. Pending sales. But look at pending sales. It's down 4.9%. So again, my guess is that people in Newark just aren't listing their home for sale. They're like, no, I'm good. I'm not listing it. Those listings are not hitting the market. The ones that are hitting the market, the few, if they're any good, they're probably getting purchased. And if they're not, they're just sitting there. Let's look at median sale price. Yeah, look at this. Man, 8% increase year over year. 8%. It's just gone up the whole year. I mean, it started at 523. Now it's at 628. It's gone up 100 grand since the beginning of the year. Yikes. That's an all-time high. Man, that's just a completely unaffordable market. And it doesn't look like it's going to change anytime soon. There's no inventory. I had someone say that's just a bunch of older houses, I'd imagine, that have been renovated and now they're maybe flips or whatever. And but money is expensive right now. Like the cost of money to renovate a house is expensive, and that's killing a lot of flips. It kills a lot of deals. You can't borrow money at, you know, from a hard money lender at 8% anymore. When rates were like 3 and 4% for a 30-year mortgage, now you're paying like 12, 13, 15. I saw somebody paying 18% for hard money, which is nuts. And it's hard to make the numbers work at that. All right, that's New Jersey, Newark, New Jersey. What's next is Tampa. Going down to Tampa, we're going to visit Bubba the Love Sponge. Is he still on the air? I don't know if he is. New listings, Tampa, Florida, 6.7% decline year over year. That's interesting. I know, you know, a lot of people have Florida pegged on the map as like the epicenter of a crash, of where they think homes or prices are crashing or where they think they will crash. But I'm looking at this right now going, well, there's no new listings. It's been going down since the spring steadily. I also heard somebody, Melody Wright, by the way, if you have a chance, check out Melody Wright's channel on YouTube. I think she does some writing too on a Substack, but she has pretty good insight into the mortgage market. And she mentions that, and I don't know this for sure, but she says the selling season in Florida is actually like coming up. I don't know. I didn't know that. I don't know if that's true or not. So maybe this is normal for this time of year. But new listings are dropping in Florida. Now active listings. Now, active listings are dropping too, starting to drop. They're still at 56% versus last year, but they're not still skyrocketing. Now let's look at median price. Oop, no, I'm sorry, pending sales. Look at pending sales, down. Down 14% versus last year. 14%. Man, you got to be hurting if you're a realtor there. Good grief. All right, let's do median sale price for Tampa. Median sale price, it's kind of been, it has gone down this year. It's at 376 grand. Is that right? You can really buy a home in Tampa for 376. Okay. Down 1% year over year. Started at 372. So now it's 376. So it has gone up a little bit this year, but it's not huge. It's not a huge increase. It's not Newark, New Jersey. So it looks like it's starting to head up now too. So it looks like there's inventory on the market now with active listings there. Go back to active. But it's starting to go down, probably because new listings are gone, right? When you go to new listings and you see a drop in new listings like that, there's no pipeline of new listings hitting the market. All right. Let me take a break from this and just look at some comments real quick. Who's this? Oh, smoke screen. Oh, hello, everyone. All right. Got that. Thanks. Hello. How are you? From Coors Light. What's up? That is a nice clause to have for a buyer. Oh, we're talking about buyer agreement. Otherwise, the buyer may be reluctant to tour a home if they feel locked in with a real estate agent right out of the gate. Yeah, I mean, the whole concept of kicking tires is gone, right? Like, I've developed a lot of relationships with buyers and turns into a seller too, by having them come to or schedule a showing and me take them to a house so they can see it. And you have no agreement with them. You just show them the house and go, here, walk around, have the kids run around the backyard. You talk about whatever and just build some rapport. And then you find out if it's somebody you want to work with. So that's been taken away from the buyer. And a lot of agents are making buyers sign agreements that are like, they can be for any length of time that's on that agreement. Like you could do it for a year if you wanted to. And it basically means if you buy real estate in that period of time, you're going to owe a commission to this guy. So it just doesn't help anything. It doesn't help solve anything in my opinion at all. But that's me. So good comment, Coors Light. Okay, Smokescreen says, keep an eye on Mitch Vexler. He has a ton of evidence put together in a very solid case against county tax fraud, just not in Denton County, Texas. It's here in Ohio too. Yeah, you're right. I have watched some of his stuff and property taxes are ridiculous. So it'll be interesting what happens next year during the reassessments, or I'm sorry, during the period of time when you can, refute the value. I will say though, I've checked all the properties I own and some client properties. The assessed value is far less than what the purchase price was, or the purchase price is right now, or the sale price of the home. So at least in what I'm seeing, the assessed value is definitely less. So if I had them run comps, it would probably be to my detriment versus my benefit. But I get it. It's definitely a problem out there. Jim, drums for life. Hey, you're a drummer. That's cool. Best local real estate info. I can't believe $250,000. Oh, you must be talking about maybe Cleveland? Yeah, nuts, right? Thanks, Jim. Appreciate it. All right, back to the good stuff. That's Tampa. Let's look at Salt Lake City. Salt Lake City. Utah's kind of expensive, isn't it? We'll find out. Salt Lake City down 4% year over year in new listings. So new listings, not a whole lot of them there. Less than last year. Active listings. What do we got? Only up 6.5% in active listings and kind of headed sideways. threatening to go under 2023. So that market looks tight. Pending sales, like everything else, pretty bad. Well, it's actually up 2.6%. Is that good? Not really. And now let's look at median sale price. Wow. Look at median sale price, $537,000. That's like more expensive to live in Salt Lake than it is Tampa or where else did we look? Certainly in Ohio and Philly. That's expensive. I didn't expect Salt Lake City to be so expensive. But it's not crashing. It's kind of going sideways through the year or through the last few months. But let's look back at the beginning of the year. $490,000 at the beginning of the year. Now you're at $537,000. Jeez. But Utah's beautiful, so maybe a lot of people moving there. Maybe it's still second home buyers. I don't know. All right, that's Salt Lake City. What else do we have? We have any more? Oh, Washington, D.C. Somebody asked me for Washington, D.C., but they also asked me for Prince George County. So I'm going to do D.C. first, and then I'll do Prince George County, which is kind of near D.C. New listings up 8.2% versus last year. So there are more new listings, but it's going down. It usually does this time of year, which is normal, but there's not an explosion of new listings. Now let me look at active listings. Up only 10%, and it's headed down because new listings are lagging. Pending sales in Washington, D.C., not great, down like a lot of other areas, down 1.8%. Same story there. Median sale price, what does that have for Washington, D.C.? $574. No surprise, it's expensive to live in D.C. We started at $521. Now you're at $574,000. So let me show you a trick on Redfin. If you don't know about this already, you can go to this data center like I do all the time, and you can go to county level instead of metro level. And then I'll type in, hopefully they have it, Prince. Whoops, I spelled that wrong. My monkey typing. My kid makes fun of me all the time. Prince George County, Virginia. That's what we're looking at, right? New listings in Prince George County. 5. Yeah, I don't know if it's pulling the data the way we want it to, probably. And I'm not sure how valuable this would be. So I don't know that I put a lot of stock into this. And somebody asked for this specifically. And I was looking forward to seeing Prince George County, but this data, only 5 listings. That doesn't make any sense. Well, let me look at active listings. 49 in the county. I mean, is that right? Oh no, it's active listings. It says are down 10% year over year. That's that there's like no inventory there if that's the case. Pending sales, what does that look like? 6 pending sales. 6 houses in contract. There's no way that's right. Median sale price. I just think the data probably, because it's a county level, it's not pulling the same as what it would if you're looking at a metro level. Median sale price, they say, is $350. That seems awful cheap. Awful low, I'll say, for Prince George County. The county's kind of expensive near Washington, D.C. like that. So I would look at if whoever asked for that, a viewer asked for Washington, D.C. and Prince George County, I would look at Zillow and I would grab a realtor and ask him for the same data I'm pulling here for the area you want to analyze. And it should give you a better picture, because I don't know that you can really go off of what Redfin is looking for or producing here. So anyway, all right. That was Prince George County. Now, let's go back. All right, a couple more comments here, and we'll wrap it up. If you have a property to sell, single family, rental, commercial, that needs a lot of repairs, the window may have closed to sell without some type of repair credit. I agree. There's a lot of, there's a couple listings that I just put out that are homes that need like $100,000 in work. but there aren't a lot of people that are excited to look at them like they would have a couple years ago. So I agree the cost of money is higher and buyers aren't as willing to, take a house that needs a ton of work. So good comment. Agree with that. Well, I'm just going to put up Coors Light again here because they commented again. And they're so nice for commenting. Thank you. There may be a lot of Airbnbs in Salt Lake City, and there's a demand for those during the winter. Therefore, there is not a big Airbnb fire sale at this time. Yep, that's very well could be. Yeah, I didn't think about that. You're right. That could be the case. There's no doubt. I know there's a lot of Airbnb owners that are getting hammered right now. But Airbnb can be great. I own some, but I own like affordable ones, like ones where I'm catering to like nurses and like people doing internships and stuff. I'm not doing like high end Airbnbs that are $500 a night. My Airbnbs are like $40 a night, but there's a minimum stay, but I do affordable stuff. But you're right. That could be it. Okay. Listen, thank you so much for your time. If you showed up or if you're watching this on the replay, thanks a lot. Do me a favor, subscribe to my channel. I put a ton of time and energy into bringing you, hopefully, market data you can use, and share this video. The more people we can share this with, get involved in the local housing markets to understand what's happening, the better educated everyone will be. And hopefully, affordability will adjust and people can start purchasing homes again, and the market will free up. But again, thanks for joining me today. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next Redfin Live.